How's everybody doing today? Thumbs up. Good, good. Everybody can hear me. Welcome to the session. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out today. I was sitting back, getting ready to put together this next call, and I thought back to my coaching days in San Diego and over the course of my career, and I said I'm going to sit down and do mental mindset. And so I thought of the best goaltender I ever coached over the years. Uh, when it came to mind, when it came to the best goaltender ever for the team that I was coaching was Reed Kinsey. I'd like to thank Reed for coming on.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Awesome. Just to touch a little bit in regards to the teams that we coached down, that I coached down in San Diego that Reed played for. We ended up losing in double overtime of the regional championship game against an LA Select team that ended up with, I don't know, 3 NHL players, about 10 Division I college hockey players. In a game we were down 4-1, got outshot 2-1 in the game. We lost in double overtime in that game. It happens. But the team that beat us went on to win a national championship. For us to make it that far and to play against teams of that caliber, and don't get me wrong, we had a quality hockey team ourselves. But we had goaltending that gave us the edge. And when it came to a competitor, there was no one like Reed that I've ever coached, I'll be honest. And so thanks for coming on, Reed. Today's session, like I said, is mental mindset, talking about pregame, during game, in game, and post game. And so, Reed, why don't you introduce yourself and explain a little bit of your accolades along the way and how you got to where you're at today.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for that introduction. Quite the introduction there, Coach. My name is Reed Kinsey. I was born and raised in San Diego. Growing up, I started playing with squirts and peewees, and then once I got to the Bantam level, that's when I turned to AA. And then we went 2 years AA, and then we went to midgets and did AAA. After that time, I did take my career to junior hockey. Being a smaller size goaltender, because I'm only about I say 5'7" on the paper, but really honestly, I'm about 5'5". It was a little bit tougher to be able to make those high-end teams. And I actually talked to one of the goalie coaches recently from one of those teams, and he said when he remembers crossing me off the list right when I stepped on the ice just because of my size. And then the one thing I did bring to the ice was a lot of speed, a lot of fun. I definitely was a fun goalie because I enjoyed my time. I couldn't forget why I started hockey. Did 4 years of juniors. After that, I decided I wanted to take hockey in a different direction. I wanted to give back to the community of San Diego just because that was something that we didn't really have here when I was growing up. And I knew that there was a place for me to be able to coach those goaltenders. So now I currently own Arcade Goalies here in San Diego. I just was brought on to USA Hockey as a GDL, a goaltending leader for the Pacific Division. And nothing too spectacular, but my main goal is coaching that next generation, making it better than mine. And any kid who's willing to get better, I'm going to be there and be 100% willing to coach.
Awesome. Well, first of all, thanks for coming out. We've got a handful of things that we're going to cover today when it comes to dealing with the mind. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and get going here. Let's see here. Uh-oh. That's the beginning. Sorry about that. One sec. Oh, it's there. There we go.
Got a good group of people here today too. That's awesome.
Yeah, doing pretty good here. Here we go. Sorry, guys, about the technical difficulty. There we go. Can everybody see the screen? We're good? Awesome.
Yeah, I can see it perfect.
Okay, goalie mindset. You know, when it comes to being a goaltender, there's a lot of things that that you have to have. Obviously, you have to have the skill. Obviously, you have to have the skating. Obviously, you have to have the compete. But one of the differences that helps you get to the next level and gives you an edge and allows you to reach it is your mind. It's the biggest tool in the game for any player, but most importantly for the goaltender. You know, the goalies that realize how to manage through their emotions and control and use their mind as a tool, instead of as a weakness, those rise to the top when it comes to getting to the next level. And so that's what we're going to talk today. Let me see here. Boom. Mental mindset, pre-game approach, in-game approach, and post-game approach. There's different ways that you have to look at it. And right now we're going to be looking at pre-game. So Reed, why don't you walk us through, let's say, a routine that you put yourself through or that you train your goaltenders? Because at the end of the day, a goalie needs a routine that helps them get mentally relaxed and prepared, and obviously physically relaxed and prepared. Talk to us.
Right, I definitely agree with that. One of the things I teach my goaltenders is right when you wake up for that game, your mindset should already be kind of thinking about, okay, what am I going to eat for breakfast? Making sure that I don't eat anything too heavy. And usually while I'm in the morning sessions, there I have this like as a very visualizational guy when it came to thinking about the game. And um, one of my biggest, what would I say? One of the biggest things that I really relied on was visualizing what was going to come in. Even when I was sitting at the dining room table eating breakfast, I'd be making glove saves with my spoon in the opposite hand, eating cereal, thinking about those stick saves, blocker saves, what's going to happen if it's a 2-on-0, kind of playing out different scenarios that could possibly happen or has happened in the past with the team. I usually would go for a little jog or a little run around my block just to get my body moving and not being all lazy until I got to the rink. I wanted to feel loose before I got there. So when I got to the rink, it would be a quick stretch, and then I would work a lot on my hand-eye coordination. Um, when it says being mentally relaxed, that's a huge thing when you're going into the next level of goaltending. If your mind is moving at 100 miles an hour, you tend to start losing focus on the basic things, such as directing the puck to the corners, talking with your teammates, and believing in yourself. Because the number one thing is we got to have confidence out there as well. Physically prepared, like I said, I would go for that run. I'd probably spend about 40 minutes in the morning times doing the run plus my stretches, plus reaction ball drills that I would kind of create on my own. So that would be a huge thing for me. Once I got to the rink, I actually remember Coach Larry saying this, is that when you exit the car, it's a business, right? You're going in, you're gonna go take care of this W, and then you're out of there, right? So it was that really stayed with me, because now whenever I get out of the car, like for those games, it was okay. I'm walking in. There's no horsing around. There's no messing around in the locker rooms. My team needs me, and most of the time, your team relies on their goaltender to kind of give them that motivation for the game, and also like just to know that there's that you're going to be back there just in case they were to mess up. So that was one thing that you did say to me that I have never forgotten about, was once you exit that car, it's game on. right? And it even takes it back from when you leave the house. It's focus, you're visualizing your saves. I usually would close my eyes, have my hands out as if I'm in my goalie stance and be catching the puck, putting the puck in the corner with my blocker, and getting pumped up with my own little jams that I had going on.
Nice, buddy. I like that.
Oh, yeah.
Nice little jams. And that being said, it's important to feel good. When to play good, you have to feel good. And feel good is a mental mindset. Okay. There's so many things that go on through your day, from when you wake up and you deal with your parents and and potentially, mom says, did you clean your room? No, I didn't clean. I'll get it later. No, do it now. All that stuff is emotional swings. So you have to be able to clear all that out. You have to be able to clear that out, have a nice, controlled, mentally relaxed mind, and then, of course, physically prepared so that you're ready to go so you don't have injuries. Now,
and adding on to that, actually, because the hockey rink was somewhere I would be able to escape. It was a place of fun, of happiness, of competitiveness. And then once I got back home, it was always, oh crap, I got some homework to do. Otherwise, it was doing chores, taking out the trash. But the rink was my escape from reality, and that helped me a lot to just be able to go there, forget about everything else that was going on, and just focus on the next 2 hours from when I arrive to when I actually leave the rink.
Awesome. That is awesome. So, quick question for you, Reed. If we've got a handful of different ages on the call, what did you do, or what do you teach the 10, 11, 12-year-old? What do you tell them off the ice that they can do to help build a foundation?
There's a few things. I would say one of the first things that I would say is when you're, as far as the pregame, are we still talking about the
No. At home, off days. We're not talking this slide at all. What did you do off ice?
Off ice, what I coach my kids is go home. You want to be stretching. I usually have them do 25 push-ups and 25 sit-ups in the morning, and then the same thing at the end of the day. And also doing reaction ball drills, right? Always keeping your hands ready to go, because once those hands start going downhill, or not necessarily downhill, but they're not ready to react, you're going to start noticing that on the ice. And that's going to definitely play a big part in the success that you have as a goaltender. Another thing I also tell them is go out and do something other than just think about hockey. Whether it's baseball, whether it's riding a bike. At that age, it's really important that you keep your muscles moving, and you keep your mind moving as well. That is the great time to start building your speed and your reaction. Once you get older, then that's where you start building your strength with your weights and all that fun stuff as well. But as a young kid, you really want to build that agility within yourself, and also your reaction speed. And that's, once you get past a certain age, it's definitely is harder for you to be able to learn. So I definitely stress going outside, doing something different, be running around, riding the bike. And then when you get back, do the reaction drills with the racket balls or the tennis balls. The number one rule is to have fun. I mean, we all love hockey, and that's always been my number one rule, was to have fun, because that's the reason why you're on the ice.
Yeah, agreed. Perfect. So game time. Now this is what makes and breaks it for the goalie. What are the different things, and you're going to talk a little bit about it here, and you mentioned confidence earlier in the pregame. Confidence is everything. I'm just going to cover confidence for you here. Confidence is everything. You can't play this game if you don't know what you're doing, if you're not prepared, and if you don't feel that you can accomplish anything. Okay. And so there's so many different things in the game that happen, from bad calls to bad line changes to odd man rushes to a guy running you over in the crease to, getting tripped. There's so many different things that make your mind, your emotions get involved. Covering a puck and getting slashed. Go ahead and talk about the things that differentiate the elite level goalies.
Between how I kind of think about it is between the starter and the backup goaltender, you start to see which goaltender has a stronger mindset, and it all goes back to that mindset with the visualization, seeing the play unfold, trying to think 3 seconds ahead of the play before it's coming in. That's definitely something that I've noticed actually currently with two goaltenders that I work with. Is one of them sees the play happening before it happens, and the other kind of just lets the puck come in, and you start to see the difference in that as well. Another thing that plays a big difference on whether you're like the top goal, because at a certain level, all the goalies are going to be about the same skill level, but it determines how you think of the game. And as an older goaltender, there's more off the ice that you have to take care of than just on the ice, right? So it's making sure you're properly prepared for your games and practice, taking every practice seriously, making sure that you're healthy, you're eating the correct foods. But yeah, I think the biggest thing for that tells the difference between like the higher quality goaltenders is the way they could see the play coming in. That's probably my number one. My number one for that is seeing that play coming in, thinking 3 seconds ahead of time before the play actually gets to you, and always being ready for any odd bounce, right? Like as if the puck's going D to D, I'm thinking, okay, if it bounces off left, I'm going to turn, pivot my hips, lead with my stick. If it bounces off right, I'm going to do the same thing, opposite side. If someone's in my face, I'm going to push them out of the way. So it's a lot of things run through your mind as you're going and as you're playing, but it's making sure that the things that are running through your mind are the correct things, right? So you don't want to be thinking about something from the side or just that single shot, because in crowded situations, a lot of times if you don't see the puck, it's going to hit and it's going to move. So you got to be always aware of what could possibly happen.
Perfect. So that would be touching on like focusing on the next shot instead of what happened before. Now, what's your recommendation on how to manage your emotions? Like, how do you manage the puck going in? How do you manage the DD pass for the breakaway, and you got the breakaway on you, and you've got to bail your D man out because he made a bad play? Like, how do you manage the emotional side of it?
One of the things I've always told myself, even at the youngest of age, is the puck has to pass 5 players before it ever gets to you, right? So you can't put the full blame on yourself. And people make mistakes. Like your defensemen, they make mistakes. Obviously, you don't want them to be making those mistakes. And then say, like, I'm thinking back right now to like a breakaway, and I would usually tap up and skate out to the top of the crease, and I would tell myself, I got this. I'm going to save this puck, and I'm going to make sure that this puck doesn't go in, break out, and we're going to go score. So it was always pushing away the past, all right, and focusing on what's happening right there and then moving on from it. So if there's been times where, unfortunately, 5 goals have gone in, but by the 3rd or 4th, I'm thinking, oh man, how am I going to get through this game? And I'll take a skate to the boards and just take deep rests. That was one thing that helped for me, was taking those deep rests and just relaxing, letting my body go from super antsy to a complete calm. And remember, I would think about, okay, Reed, you got to read the play 3 seconds ahead, watch every puck into my body, and remember, why am I out here? I'm out here to have fun. And that's how I personally was able to push those bad goals, or the goals that sometimes I would feel like they were my fault, and I would push those to the side and just say, okay, I'm going to think about them later, but I still have a game to finish off.
Perfect. Well, the one thing, the one thing I've had an opportunity to do is I've worked with a lot of goaltenders. And there is one thing that differentiates the elite ones from those that just play hard, or those that rise to the top level wise. And that's the ability to analyze and forget. Analyze how the goal went in and then forget it forever. Maybe detail it later. You're not going to dwell on it during the game. You're not going to allow your emotions to get the best of you. The analyze and forget, that's a statement there that I took from Trediak's 10 Commandments. He talks about it's important to know how goals are scored on, but you never want to dwell on it. You want to just move on to the next. And I think game time, it's really important. I think I've heard other phrases used of have a short memory. Have a short memory, get on to the next part. But very good, very good. So post game, what are the things post game wise that are important? The game's over. It's important for your mind to go through and make sure it's a learning experience. Obviously, every game is a stepping stone. Every game is that next step to make the ultimate goaltender, because that's your goal. It's not going to happen at 10. It's not going to happen at 12. It's not going to happen at 30. But every day is a stepping stone to get to that perfect goaltender, that the best version of you as a goalie. And taking every moment on the ice from a practice to a game and making it a learning experience is huge. But the ability for a goaltender to be able to turn the page and say, okay, that game's over and done with. That would be my daughter screaming over there. Sorry about that, guys. And I mean turn the page in a good and bad way. And what I mean by that is let's say you go out and you stop 35 and you get that 2-0 shutout and you feel like you're on top of the world. But when the next week comes and you've got that next game, that game means nothing. That shutout means nothing. You got to go out there and do it again. It's the same thing of the 5-0 loss. And let's learn from it. Let's make it a learning experience. Let's turn the page and move on, but make sure that we're enjoying the wins and the losses. Okay. And Reed, over the years with goaltenders and how you teach your guys for your goalie school, what do you use to help them develop in regards to, I've got a couple things written down here, but talk to me about what you use with your guys.
So just like you have on the PowerPoint, turning the page and having that short memory is key. I have the kids usually after the game, I tell them, hey, forget about what just happened. Okay, get in the car, go home, and then you can start thinking about it. Because once you start showing emotions in the locker room and kind of showing your teammates, that's also something that's going to affect the whole team. And like you said, as if you're going to get it, or as you get a shutout, you could be very excited, and that's awesome, right? But it's also how are you going to come back from it, right? You're going to do a shutout, and then you're going to go through practice, and next game, hopefully you get another one, right? So turning that page and forgetting about what happened right when you get off the ice is a huge thing that I want kids to know, and also I teach the kids, because no matter what, as a goaltender, you're going to get scored on, but it's the way you react and the way you comprehend what happens and build from it during the practices during the week. And that's where I kind of stand with that. Also, a lot of the goaltenders I work with, I usually get nowadays with all the awesome video that you're able to take during the game. I usually get about like a 5-minute clip of how the play developed, what goals went in, and we usually get after it at practice or during our lessons to kind of try and eliminate those from ever happening again, or trying to make the better decision instead of going down, staying up, right? So it's something where you got to turn the page. You can't dwell on it, otherwise it's going to affect you through that whole week of practice. and possibly even the game the following weekend.
Yeah, I know that I've coached a couple of goaltenders over the years that did game footage every game. They did every goal against was analyzed. It was looked at, and it came out with a conclusion. And part of that conclusion was it on me? What could I have done differently? And did I do the right things and still get scored on? And all those outcomes are all there. They're all there. And I agree. Here there's different things like a journal. Writing a journal and keeping track of your own development is huge. Video sessions, and then most importantly, getting back to it, getting back to the grind. It doesn't matter, a big win or a big loss doesn't matter. The bottom line is you have to get back to the grind. You have to get back to your weaknesses. You have to get back to the things that make you who you are and how to get to the next step up there. So we actually have Coach Mike O'Malley on here too. He's our goalie coach here with the Jets and GSE. Great, thanks for coming out, Mike. I actually have a question for Coach Mike. We're gonna send his way for 10 seconds. So go ahead and unmute yourself, Coach.
Perfect. Give me a sec.
Nice, buddy. There you go. You're good. I'm gonna do a quick fire question with you. Favorite goaltender?
Ooh, that's a good one. I don't know. I'm a big Russian goaltender guy. I'm a Andrei Vasilevsky or a Bobrovsky, I'd say.
Okay.
Just their overall athleticism and just their kind of like new age style of goaltending. It's just kind of like next level stuff.
Perfect. Okay. Best tournament you've been to?
Best tournament I've been to. Shoot.
Spot.
I went to nationals when I was playing for Gilmore Academy. That was a really crazy experience.
National championship. Been there. Pretty solid. Huge event. Favorite college team?
Favorite college team. Shoot. I like ASU. I like how they've kind of come on the map from like their club program to now, like, especially us being out west. I'd say ASU would be a really cool school to go see and or play for.
Perfect. Well, thanks for jumping on there, answering a few questions. I'm going to mute you again, and then we're heading back to Reed. Reed, you mentioned earlier that you're an undersized goaltender, 5'5", 5'5", somewhere right around there, listed.
5. We'll put it at 5'7.5" on paper.
On paper,
but really
right.
5'5".
We all do it. What's your advice? Because obviously we've got lots of different goaltenders on here, and the percentages say that 50% on here are going to be undersized goaltenders. So, what's your advice for an undersized goaltender or what made you? I mean, you were super elite. And just so you guys know, Reed was the top 94 goaltender in the state. Period. Period. All the way through youth hockey. And bottom line, he's elite. What helped you get there to that level, obviously? And what do you think is I'll tell you, your biggest attribute is your competitiveness, but what is the biggest skill that you think makes you Reed Kinsey?
Thank you for that, by the way. I think the biggest thing for the younger or the smaller goaltenders is being effective on the ice, being fast on your feet, speed, being able to play the puck. And my biggest thing, other than the competitiveness, was I talked a lot. Probably too much, to be honest, but I talked a lot. Whenever that puck was in the zone, I'd be talking to my defenseman, like a D-to-D or dump, and at certain points, if it was in there too long, it would sound like I was losing a gasket, but I'd be yelling, get it out. So talking is something that's going to kind of separate you from other goaltenders, because I don't see enough talking as a goaltender as the goaltenders are growing right now. But speed, skating in the crease, being aware of what happens. And that's the talking was definitely the number one for sure. And the defenders loved it because they knew, like, I always had their back. When they were going, chasing the puck from in the corner, I'd be saying one on, left, right. And so they would have kind of an idea instead of just turning and getting slammed into the boards. So that was one, and then the speed and your skating skills around that crease.
Yeah, skating skills are huge. I know that you're a cross hockey player, meaning you play roller and ice. I'm a huge fan of both, obviously. You played out in roller as well, and you did goalie too, but you did a lot of skating out, correct?
Yes. Oh yeah. But the main reason I switched to player and roller, because I would see the play happen in ice. I'm like, oh man, I wish they just passed it back door right there. And then when I go out to roller hockey, I would already be thinking that, like, still having that goalie mindset. Okay, that defense was never going to be on that far side if I'm right here. So that helped out a lot. And also knowing where to shoot or where like weaknesses are on myself, I would take it to the roller rink and use it on the other goaltenders. And it worked a lot. So that helped. But yeah, I grew up playing roller hockey. That's what I started on. And as a player then, and ever since, even now, I'm still skating on my rollerblades at least twice a week, just making sure that I'm staying active, that I'm still not, well, because I'm getting older, so I don't want anything to get stiff nowadays. But when I was younger, the roller hockey was an escape, and it also improved my skating skills as well without really knowing it at the time.
Awesome. Yeah, I mentioned the cross sport because you had mentioned earlier about doing multiple different things to build your athleticism, and that's a huge aspect of becoming the best player, or best version of yourself as a hockey player. It doesn't matter if you're goalie, D, forward. It's all about developing your athleticism when you're young, 10, 11, 12, and doing other things, not just hockey. It's really important to do any other things. And Coach Reed touched on that. Now we're getting to the end here. To send these young goaltenders off with one final piece of advice, what would you say? What would that message be?
It would be never give up. Even when you feel that you're down, keep pushing through the battle, and there is always a light at the end of the tunnel. I know growing up, that was a big thing that I also thought about a lot, was even though there was another goaltender on that team, I'm going to battle for that position. I'm never going to give up. It's only 1 hour in the day out of 24 hours you're on the ice. Push as hard as you can for that 1 hour. And as you keep going and going, you're going to be improving a lot more and a lot quicker.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for coming out, Reed. Tell us a little bit about RK Goalies and what you guys do in the off season.
So currently right now we are doing Zoom lessons over the week, doing about 4 a week. During the off season, when we're not all in this quarantine, I host camps, usually in June and July. And the whole goal there is to make every goaltender the best they could possibly be. One thing I've always lived by as a coach was any goaltender willing to come out and work hard, I'm going to be willing to be out there and work hard with them.
Awesome.
Growing up, we never really had that opportunity as a consistent goalie coach in San Diego. So I really wanted to give back in that way, and run camps, clinics, private lessons, approximately on the ice about 30 to 35 hours each week. Pretty much live at the rink, which I absolutely love, and I couldn't be more thankful for that either.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for joining us today. Guys, thanks for coming out. We're going to we will have another session here in about 10 days. Once we lock in the subject and whatnot, we'll get all the information out. Thanks again, Reed, and everybody have a great day.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Take care, guys.
See you guys.